By the way, I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but Glenn, I would say, when it comes to addiction, is, if anything, overly forgiving.
Yeah.
If anything, because he's dealt with a lot of these problems, as everybody knows, and he is the I think the only guy I can remember talking about Tiger Woods' apology in a positive way. He defended Michael Vick when he was getting hammered for getting the key to the city. One of those minor stories. He defended Michael Vick and said he didn't have a problem with that. Both black athletes that have gone through their share of troubles. So I it's just a ridiculous. I mean, it's the typical thing, though. This is what the media does. They take these sort of stereotypes about conservatives and just assume that they're true at every turn. Another example is the Washington Post, who came after Glenn, and actually both you and I as well, Pat, when it comes to the Roland Martin story. Remember this last week? Roland Martin was, or 2 weeks ago, I guess now, was in trouble and suspended by CNN for tweeting at the Super Bowl or during the Super Bowl that he thought anyone who liked David Beckham, if any of your friends at your party liked David Beckham in his underwear, beat the crap out of him or something to that effect. And obviously everyone understood that to be, hey, if your friends are gay, they like David Beckham too much and they like dudes in underwear, well, then beat them up. And, of course, he was making a stupid joke, and I'm sure he wasn't actually advocating violence against gays, but it was enough to get him suspended off CNN. So we talked about that story, and Glenn said, Roland Martin's an idiot, and that he, while he's very, he's an idiot as far as, what he's done, that doesn't mean you fire him for his opinion. I'd rather hear him speak. Let him be an idiot on television. So the Washington Post comes out and writes about our take on the story, as well as Bill O'Reilly's. And it says this. On the one hand, neither Beck nor O'Reilly likes CNN analyst Martin, in part because of Martin's politics and opinions. On the other hand, neither Beck or O'Reilly want to... Well, no, it's not the black thing.
Oh, but he is. He's black. That's why
I suppose that's true.
That's a big part of it.
Neither Beck nor O'Reilly wants to align himself too closely with anti-homophobic... No.
With the black man.
Not with the black man. No, he's saying that we don't like Roland Martin.
But he's black. We don't like it. That's why we don't like him.
No. I think that's the main... I think that's the main reason that even the Washington Post didn't go that easy.
Okay.
They tried to complicate it a little bit more.
All right.
So on the one hand, we don't like Roland Martin. On the other hand, neither Beck or O'Reilly want to align themselves too closely with anti-homophobia. Such a stance might not go over well with the base. Black. Plus, open these guys up to charges of political correctness. Thus, the prescription. Okay. We thread the needle. We mock Martin personally on the air,
because he's black. That's why.
Oh, that's not why.
That's why we mock him.
I don't know why you can't get this one through your head.
Well, because Roland Martin is black. Am I wrong, or am I right on that?
You are right on that.
I'm right
that
on
is
that.
True.
So that's why we hate him, because he's black, obviously. Duh.
No, it's because he's...
Do we have to go any deeper than that?
Apparently
so. Of course, there's the homophobia thing, too, but the guy is black. Am I right or wrong?
You're right on that point. He is. Right. That is his race, yes.
Okay, done deal then.
I'm surprised they didn't just stop there. You're right. Yeah. Thus, the prescription.
You keep glossing
Martin,
over it, and so do they. But the fact is, Roland Martin is black.
No, you
have
right
said
wrong?
That. Is that right, or am I
multiple
wrong?
Dozen times
I'm
here.
Right. Okay, so you admit I'm right.
Yes, you are right on that. Thus, the prescription. Mock Martin personally on the air, but then make explicit your lack of regard for the condemnation of homophobia. So the accusation here is that Glenn he wants to say Martin's a bad guy because he doesn't like him, but he also wants to say that it's not too bad to hate gays. Now, what is amazing in particular about this...
That's a great case.
Yeah, they pulled two quotes from the broadcast to use in this article. One of which, and Sarah, these are the last two I asked you to pull this morning. Do you have these two? This is about us standing with Roland Martin. This is one of the quotes they pulled from the Washington Post article.
I have to stand, unfortunately, with him and say, you don't fire people for what they say in their personal life or what they happen to believe.
Now, they pulled that quote.
Boy.
Now, by the way, unfortunately, play that one more time, Sarah.
I have to stand, unfortunately, with him
and
stop.
Say, Well, the way Washington Post wrote that was, I have to stand ... with him. So they took out the unfortunately part. I have to stand with him and say that you don't fire people for what they say in their personal lives. Now they only included one other quote, which was in this case me, I believe. What they say, what they're talking about, the standard the left has created when it comes to saying something controversial. By the standard the left has created, this would be a fireable offense.
Yes.
The question is whether that standard is legitimate. And they go on to say, all right, on that point, the Beck people agreed, no, it's not a legitimate standard. Now, what's interesting about this is the gymnastics they had to go through to paint this case. Now, again, the case is Glenn would never say something to criticize people who are homophobic because he's either a homophobe or his audience is a bunch of homophobes. This is exactly the next sentence after we stopped talking about Roland Martin. The next sentence after we stopped talking about the Roland Martin issue and his bizarre obsession with ascots. Here it is.
There's another one that Glad is, I think, rightfully taking on, and that is the Ellen DeGeneres nonsense that's happening with JCPenney's.
Well, yeah, there's some idiot conservative group is trying to get Ellen DeGeneres fired from the JCPenney ads. I guess because she's lesbian.
Can I ask you how that affects you?
Yeah,
how does that affect you?
I don't get that one either.
That doesn't make any sense. So now we're going to ban people. Listen to what that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's big government fascism on the other side.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they ignore that completely.
Yeah.
In trying to make us into homophobes.
Right. Now,
wow.
Glenn went on to call the campaign dangerous. Pat, you said that people need to, quote, need to stop with all of this nonsense. I said stop worrying about who other people hire. That exchange happened 62 seconds after they cut off the transcript. It's the exact thing they said Glenn would never do. And it happened 1 minute and 2 seconds after they cut the transcript off. Now, right after that...
And this is the Post, right? Washington Post?
The Washington Post.
Wow.
Right now, again, that's exactly the thing. I mean, it's exactly... They said we would never do it because we wouldn't want to offend our audience who are homophobes. Yet here we are criticizing a conservative group for trying to get somebody fired for being gay. 62 seconds later. Right after that exchange... There's this one. After we called Ellen can defend herself, we said, and that Martin is still an idiot, Glenn discussed this just a couple of minutes after the last exchange we played.
There's a really, really bad anti-gay story out there that is shocking in nature. And nobody seems to be carrying the water for this one. And I wonder why. Because this one's real, true hatred.
So he's talking about another anti-gay situation, and he's criticizing the people who are going around beating gay people. This is in Atlanta. Again, another example of Glenn not being homophobic that happened right after that. And then you look at, I don't know, do we have the 1975 part of this, Sarah? I don't know if I asked you to pull that one. This is Glenn 17 seconds before they started the transcript. 17 seconds. Here's Glenn talking about Roland Martin.
I mean, what are you, 1975? I mean, you want to talk about progress? You haven't made any progress. I mean, I don't even know where you come. I don't even know where you're coming from on this.
Think about this. They had to edit out what happened 17 seconds before and 62 seconds after. And in those exchanges, the point they are making in the article is completely destroyed 3 separate times.
Shows you what lying, horrible people they are.
Horrible people they are. Horrible people they are.
Jeez.
To get this done, they had to edit out what Glenn said in the seconds before the quote they used that would completely disprove their argument. And they had to stop the transcript 1 minute before Glenn does 2 more stories that also disprove their argument.
And it's pretty amazing. We do an opinion show. They supposedly are journalists who deal in fact. And really, who does? Who deals in fact? Who really tries to get to the truth of what's going on? Us or them? I mean, we give people the benefit of the doubt all the time. I pass up stories on people I can't stand all the time because somebody has made a big deal out of something that really isn't there. Yeah, the choir story, in fact, from yesterday, where the kid quit the choir because he was going to sing the Allah thing. They also had a Christian song in the same set. So I'm like, well, that's not a big deal then. They're singing Islam songs. They're singing Christian songs. They're singing an Irish folk song. Get over it. We didn't make a big deal out of that.
No, I didn't.
You know, you've got to be consistent, fair, and honest. Yeah, unless you're with the Washington Post, then, of course.
Honest.
All bets are off.
888-727-BECK. This is the fourth hour.